So with that being said, I'm really excited to introduce our final speaker of the night. So his name is UJ Ramdas. He is a Shopify merchant, and he is the co-creator of the 5-Minute Journal, which I'm sure a lot of you here in this room use. But his 3 fun facts, nice. Amazing. So he has 3 short fun facts. He dance walks frequently. He's a big fan of hugs, and he misses days in his 5-minute journal. I can't believe that. UJ, come on up here and share your fuck up.
Awesome. Are you using this? Sweet. So, I'm going to start with something I saw recently. This guy. I like this guy, right? Why do I like this guy? I like him because, to me, he embodies... How many people have seen something like this? Right? Similar meme, gets shared a lot. It was sent to me. And what I like about this guy is he embodies to me what a growth mindset is. He takes a bunch of fucking failure and turns it into this beautiful staircase of success. My question is, how the fuck do you go from the guy on the left to the guy on the right? Like, where is the instruction manual for this? Because when you're in the heat of your fuck up, those are the questions I'm asking. And so today, that's the question that I want to talk about. And to get into the fuck-ups, because I'm going to cover 2, a professional and a personal fuck-up. I have to take you on a bit of a story. So the story starts several years ago when me and my co-founder, Alex, take a long walk. And we're talking about how there are so many TED Talks on happiness. Dozens of them. So many books on happiness, how to be happy. The happiness equation, this whole deal. There's not very much practical shit you can do every day to make you happier. There's a lot of this theory nonsense. There's not too much actual things you can do. So we were pissed. And we decided to make something together. We decided to make the 5-minute journal. And for us, this was like a toothbrush for your mind. It's something you do every day. You start with it in the morning, ideally. And you do it right before you go to bed. And it helps build habits of happiness. It's all based on research, and if you do it for a few days, you can start to notice the difference. And so we launch it in May of 2013 at an event called Mastermind Talks. It's a conference started by a dear friend of mine, Jason Gaynard. And the draw to this event was this guy. How many people in the audience know this guy? Tim Ferriss, exactly, right? Wrote this awesome book, The 4-Hour Workweek, which incidentally inspired the 5-Minute Journal. So the day we launched the journal, I ended up meeting this guy. And this is the story of how that happened. So it's around dinner time, and the dessert's just been served. And at an event like this, Tim is like the hot chick that everybody wants a piece of. He's surrounded by people, like surrounded. And I'm that creep 20 meters away, kind of like sitting, just like intently looking at him, trying to figure out what the opening is. Because definitely you don't want to be one of those douches around him, right? Bad move. But I'm trying to look for an opening. I'm like, there has to be some kind of way to do this. And I see it. The opening is always in the transitions. And so he starts to move out. And I start to move in. My heart's beating. And I'm like, okay, I have 20 seconds, maybe. Here goes. Hey, Tim, I just want to say, thanks so much for writing The 4-Hour Workweek. It made a huge impact. And it actually inspired something that we created called the 5-Minute Journal. It'd mean the world to me if you could just check it out and let me know how it goes. That's it. Just a bit of feedback, nothing else. He's like, 5-Minute Journal. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And that's it. I'm like, thank you so much. Super happy. Got the fuck out. Right? And that was that. And less than a month later, I get this email from someone on Tim's team. And I had to read it a couple of times. I didn't show you all of it. But I had to read it a couple of times just to understand what the fuck was happening. But it turns out, Tim wanted to order about 2,500 journals for his audience. Holy shit. Holy shit. This was amazing on a lot of levels because A, it's amazing to have something you created be acknowledged by someone you admire. But the second, it was the Tim Ferriss, who here has heard of the Tim Ferriss effect, right? It's a real thing. When Tim talks about shit, people buy. And so the 5-minute journal, Intelligent Change, went from my side hustle, we used to call it Muse business back in the day, the terminology changed, but to my full-time thing. Whoa, this was awesome. And so as the business grew, as time went on, we started getting emails like this. Have you guys thought of an app? I would really love an iOS app. I would really love an iPad app. And we're like, sure, let's make an app. And so we asked around, and we met someone. He looked okay. I'm like, cool, let's build an app. Let's make this happen. And we'd never done this before. We'd never hired before. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We were just like, cool, like how hard can it be? The 5-minute journal is a pretty simple thing, right? How hard can that be? So we're testing it. We see some errors. We see some crashes. We're like, this is beta. This is alpha. Maybe it gets better over time. It doesn't. And it's time for launch. So we're like, do we want to wait? Do we want to push it? Do we want to wait? We push it. We're like, who's heard of Seth Godin, right? He's got this ship it attitude. Fuck it. Let's just ship it. We'll figure it out on the way out. So we shipped. This is what it looks like. And it looked decent, but it fucking did not work. And so we launched it. And it was shitty. Who here actually owned one of the original 5-minute journal apps? Okay, there's one guy, not too many people. I'm so happy about this. Because it was challenging. We had a lot of emails coming in from a lot of people. Be like, hey, this is not really working. Can you please help us? And our audience was really great, actually. They were so nice. They weren't like the asshole emails you get. We're like, oh, you guys suck. No, it's like, oh, we totally understand what you're trying to do. You take your time, try to figure out your bugs. They were super nice about it, which is amazing, right? And so here we are trying to solve some of this stuff. And that was like maybe a pretty significant fuck up, but clearly it wasn't a fuck up that was big enough. Because then I went to Bali. And then I fucked up on a way bigger scale. So Bali, got on this nice bike. I'm feeling great. I'm living the 4-hour work week. And I'm meeting a few friends to head out to a waterfall. I'm running late, and I hate running late, so I pick up the pace. And boom! I T-bone a car going over 60 kilometers an hour. And sometimes I get a question. It's like, did you pass out? What happened? Nope. I remember everything. I remember the smell of burnt tire on the side of the road. I remember the blood gushing out. I remember blurry vision because I didn't have my glasses on me. But most of all, I remember the pain. Mind-numbing, excruciating pain that would not allow me to think. And so there was, on the side of the road, in a foreign country, where I didn't speak the language, without travel insurance, and I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get out of this? And so a Balinese man stops and ends up saving my life. Drives me to emergency, which is a fucking shed. I scream painkillers, 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 till someone injects some good shit in me. I finally get to the hospital where I realize, okay, I'm gonna live. This is good. This is good news. I realize the doctor tells me I'm a tiny percentage. I'm within the 1% of people that is gonna get out of this without brain damage, no nerve damage, no spine damage. I'm like, holy shit. But if I'm going to stay intact, I need surgery right away. And so I stay in the hospital for weeks. And so I have a lot of time to think. How did this happen? And how do I learn from this? And so the surface lessons are easy, right? Get travel insurance. Don't fucking drive fast, right? That's the easy shit. But I'm not a surface guy, right? I like to go deep. And so if I'm in this experience, I want to make it worth it and useful for me. And so I slowly started to realize something fundamental. There is a significant difference between pain and suffering. Pain, that I was feeling a lot of, is inevitable. If you're alive, pain is going to happen. But suffering is optional. Suffering is the stories you make to numb out the pain. If you stub your toe in the morning, ow, 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 that's pain. The, ow, fuck, I'm such an idiot. Oh, this ruins my day. Those are all your stories. And as I was in the hospital bed, I was peeing into a jug, I was shitting on a plate, right? It's not fun. It's not fun. This is raw shit that happens. I realized the pain that I'm experiencing, although it's quite bad, the suffering was way worse. The wondering what would have happened if I had gone a little slower. The wondering of how much pain I was causing my family. The question of how long and expensive my recovery would be. These were challenging. And so I realized if I were to just stick with the feeling, the sensation, and using the pain as fuel, which can only be a visceral experience that you can experience personally, you can use that pain for your growth. You can use that pain to ask questions like, how do people who've been in my situation recover? How did they do how did they move through what I've been through? And that makes a lot of difference. Because for me, this shit took time. It took 6 months for me to get back to Canada. It took an entire year for me to recover physically and mentally. It took 3 years to recover spiritually and emotionally. But all that time, I was studying and learning from other people who've made similar mistakes and always asking, am I doing the things I need to do to go to where I need to go? And in this new way of looking at life, this ethic, this way of life, it was easy for me to see where I had thrown things under the rug before. It was easy, right? Let's be honest. In terms of fuck-up magnitude, accident was here, app was here. It was very different, but we were not taking responsibility for it, right? We had to pull the app because we realized this was not actually a representation of who we are and what we do. We had to learn how to hire because I believe one of the most important problems to solve are the who problems. Who are you going to hang out with? Who is going to run operations for your company? Who is going to build the app that we want to be built? Who's going to help me with my rehab? Because if you have the right people doing the right work, life is smooth as fuck. But getting the right people to do the right things, that's some hard shit. And there's actually a quick plug on a book. There's a book called Who, A Method for Hiring, which is very valuable in this entire process. And so eventually, we pulled the app, we worked with a great new app developer, and we launched 2 years again after the original app was launched, we launched it again. And one of the highest honors for an iOS app, at least at the time, was getting featured on Apple. And so the day we launched, I get this screenshot from a buddy of mine. I'm like, holy fuck! We got featured. Whoa, this is wild. We were not expecting this, by the way. I also realized that Starbucks wanted to feature us as a pick of their week, which means millions of users get to download our app for free. This is pretty incredible. But here's the deal. It took some time. It took a lot of heart. It's gonna take you some time. And when shit was tough, when I was dealing with a lot of self-doubt, I remember a phrase from a speech I'd heard years ago that I looped over and over again. It was Steve Jobs' 2005 commencement speech. And I can pretty much say this verbatim because I've listened to it so goddamn many times. And it goes something like this. When life hits you in the head with a brick, don't lose faith. You have to trust in something. Life, gut, karma, whatever. Because trusting that will give you the confidence when it takes you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference. And that has made all the difference for me, and I trust it will make all the difference for you. Thank you.
What a story. Thank you so much for sharing that, UJ. A huge part of our events is really like that mindfulness aspect and speaking about mental health. So thank you so much for sharing and giving us a glimpse into a business fuck up, but also showing us what was happening on the personal side and how those two blended together, because they're not two separate things. We're all sort of one. So I'm sure you guys are going to have some amazing questions. Let's open it up.
Fabulous story. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I think what I found really fascinating is that you were going through both a professional and a personal hardship at the same time. And what I love about your story is that the business part of it, you are so friggin' dedicated. You're dedicated to really making it work and putting the time in. Do you feel that that is the case, that entrepreneurs have that ability with their businesses, but can also apply that to their personal lives? Do we put the same amount of effort into personal?
You mean on average?
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand the
No,
question.
yeah, really. I think for yourself, like, would you say that you would put the same effort into your personal life, relationships and so on, that you do into the passion you have for your business?
I think I put more effort on my personal life
Excellent.
than I put into my business.
Yeah, it's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah.
UJ,
What's up?
fantastic story.
Where am I looking? Oh, there we go. Perfect.
And you're also a wonderful storyteller.
Thank you.
As part of entrepreneurship, I believe the story is such a key component for not only the individual, yet also the business. Would you give us all 2 or 3 of your favorite tips on how to be a better storyteller?
I like closings. It's like, find a nice clincher, man. It's fun. It's good. It's like a nice close. I think I'm an okay storyteller. I just like to study great storytellers. So actually, I've been recently studying a lot of Kobe, because Kobe's doing a lot of storytelling these days. And I'm just generally a fan of the guy. So like, I love his stuff. I love Pixar stuff. Pixar does really good shorts, and they have a really great story arc. There's a great video on YouTube called the Monomyth Crash Course. There's a 2-part video on, so I really like the Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, the concept of it, but his books are too fucking long for me. So I like give me the 80-20 on this, right? Like, help me understand the idea without me having to spend 2 weeks of my life trying to read this book. And that is this 20 minutes on YouTube, this Monomyth Crash Course. Just search for it, part 1, part 2. Yeah, and so I like to follow that arc as much as possible, which is why, actually, if you notice, the fuck-ups I chose were way off in the distance. Gives me some perspective and clarity to be able to, A, intelligently talk about them, but B, have a reasonable story arc. If the fuck-up was too short, I wouldn't have the cycle. I wouldn't actually be able to have learned, implemented, and actually be able to show results. So, what's up? Honestly, I have to credit a lot to my partner, my co-founder. He helped quite a bit, and he helped kind of pick up a lot of the slack. It was tough. Like, it's not like our service and our ability to maintain the numbers were as strong as they would have been, but yeah, I have a lot to credit to him for that.
Hey, so question over here.
Hi.
You said something very interesting, which was the difference between pain and suffering. So kind of want to ask for advice. Yesterday, I lost my wallet.
All right.
And it had all my IDs in it and $300 cash. And I feel pain and I feel suffering.
Great.
So how do you...
This is useful.
So like, how do you apply that? Because I am hurt.
Okay, perfect. This is great. All right, let's dig in. You guys ready to strap in? Cool. Tell me how the pain feels.
Like,
Explain to me the sensations.
I feel dumb. So
Okay,
I
so that's
feel
the story.
sad.
Hold on, that's the suffering, right?
Yeah.
So you're skipping from the pain to the suffering. Let's isolate the pain separately from the story. Cool?
Okay.
Okay, so where in your body do you feel the pain?
The pain is like in my heart.
In your heart.
Because I love money.
Okay, great. I love it too. Right? Great. So you feel, what is the sensation? Is it like sharp? Is it insistent? What is it?
It's like whenever somebody talks about, reminds me of it, it's sharp.
Okay, it's sharp. So you feel the sharp experience, the pain in your heart, right? Feel it. Feel it and don't let it go to I'm dumb. Oh, this is annoying. Oh, this sucks. Oh, how the fuck am I gonna make this money again? Right? Don't just stay with the pain. Can you do that for me?
Okay.
Okay. Good. No, feel it. Just allow yourself to experience whatever emotion that is arising because of the physical sensation of the pain.
Okay.
Okay? Cool. As best you can. And then to me, what I do is I start to ask questions. I'm like, what is it that I can do? What is the best course of action I can take without letting go of that sensation?
So an action path.
So what you're doing is you're staying with the sensation and you're letting it fuel your next steps without letting it jump into story.
So without blaming myself.
Exactly. Without blaming yourself, without anything, just feel the thing that is wanting to be felt. There we go. There's some grief, right? There is some, it sucks. It's going to suck a lot less if you don't go to, fuck, I'm dumb. Fuck, this sucks. Oh, I'm not going to make this money. Because now you're dealing with this shit, this mind-made bullshit. That is your own. That is my own. Like, we create this. And that's way harder to deal with. So if you can just stick with, the owness, okay? Then you can level with yourself. Breathe a bit and ask, okay. When you do that, what happens, you get access to a calmer, smarter part of yourself that goes, okay, I'm feeling this. It kind of sucks, but how can I use this? Where can I go? Like, what is the real damage here? I got to call a few people, banks and shit, and get some IDs. It's going to take a couple of weeks. What is the real damage versus the perceived damage?
It's definitely a lot more inflated in the head.
Exactly, right? But now the cool part is you're able to recognize what is the real damage versus the inflated, mind-made bullshit damage.
I lost $300.
Exactly. Use the pain is what I'm trying to say. So when you feel the pain, do you feel a bit more aware? Do you feel a bit more like, I have more access?
I feel like when I acknowledge it, and just confront the feeling and just confront the fact, it's like okay. Mm-hmm. It's better. It feels a lot better when you face on rather than avoid it.
You feel better, but what is that better? That's better is more awareness. That better is more access to be able to deal with the thing you're dealing with. You keep going that line. It's not easy, but it's worth it, right? You will get to where you want to go, and you'll do the thing you need to do without a lot of man-made bullshit, and that's what I'm after.
So it's to recount, it's to accept, it's to acknowledge, and instead of, I guess, beating myself up, it's just, okay, well, what can I do now? Let's
feel the entire thing.
Feel the entire thing.
Feel what I'm asking you to do. Feel the pain. The pain makes you feel better. The better is more awareness. More awareness thrown at any problem would solve it better. By definition, right? More awareness is always awesome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yeah. Who's orienting?
Hey, what's your favorite Pixar movie or short, and why?
There is a specific one. There's a one, I can't remember the name, but there's an animal one. It's really good. It makes me laugh and smile all the time. And you can pull it up maybe. It'd be nice. Yeah, I can send it to you. The animal is so good. And there's also a chess one with a dude and an old dude. I don't remember any of their names. What's up? No, not that one. Yeah. The chest, exactly. Yeah.
Another one over here.
Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really inspirational. I've been filling up the 5-minute journal for the last 3 months.
Awesome.
And it's been amazing. I just wanted to see what your experience, the part of it is really like also about envisioning yourself and the affirmations you write. What are some of the affirmation you write for yourself?
It's a good question. So, I'm a big fan of putting myself on the line as a way of life. Like putting your heart on the line as a way of life. It's a philosophy of living that just involves you doing what is right and what is important, what is true, over what feels good or what might be a nice story. And so today, I wrote, I, UJ Ramdas, live life, put my heart on the line as a way of life. You're welcome.
Hey there. I have no good segue from that, but
Sweet.
You talked about how when you had the physical book and then
Yeah.
you had the feedback from your users that they wanted an app.
Yeah.
What are your users asking for now? And where do you see the business evolving? And how are you learning from how you responded to their feedback the last time to build your company of the future?
I like that question, but I like to keep the future in mystery. so that's going to be a short answer to that.
Okay, awesome questions, awesome dance-off. Before you go, I just want to give a little bit of a personal anecdote. It really means a lot to me that you spoke tonight. You mentioned that Tim Ferriss was sort of like that for you, but there's a little bit of a meta story, and you're actually part of the reason, or like part of my journey for how we're here tonight. So 5 years ago, I was working in corporate, really like standard role. I was a business school grad, didn't really know what entrepreneurship was. And somebody actually sent me the Instagram profile of Mimi, who's your co-founder's wife. And somebody just mentioned they thought we looked kind of alike, had a similar style. So I don't know, I'm not too sure about that, but I looked at her Instagram profile, it was very cool. But I was more interested sort of in the business side of it than the fashion. I started digging into how did they build these 3 amazing businesses? And that sort of led me to UJ, led me to thinking about entrepreneurship. That's how I found out about Shopify. Didn't know that Shopify existed back then. I thought my journey was going to be working at Shopify. Applied, got rejected. That took me to Tel Aviv, got me to leave Canada. And then that's where I came across Fuckup Nights, was following you guys all along. And it's really cool that we're here tonight and you spoke.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.